So I wanted to make a video today going over the recent controversy surrounding Assassin's Creed Shadows, going over what's happening with Yakuza's betrayal of the character in the game, and then how Ubisoft is basically trying to financially fuck its player base and fans by charging them upwards of $130, for the right to play the game 3 days early. So to start off with, talking about Yakuza. Personally, I don't really care about Yakuza's portrayal in the game, but I'm not gonna act ignorant and say that I don't know what they're doing, or that we don't see what Ubisoft is doing with Yakuza as a character. They're purposely going out of their way to glorify him to such an extent as being like this heroic samurai figure and base him off history when he wasn't that at all in actual history. He was more so just a slave of Otsuga Nagasuga, and he's just leaves a bad taste in your mouth, because you can tell that the way Ubisoft is doing this is just to meet modern agendas. It's not actually done out of respect for the character itself, and not being done as a way to meaningful portray a real life person. It's just to beat certain standards that the gaming industry has of late, and it is seen as woke, and it is woke. Personally, the reason I don't care about it is because ultimately I care more about the final product of the game. If the game turns out to be good, if the gameplay is good, if the game, isn't just a copy and paste like we've seen in the past other 5 Ubisoft Assassin's Creed games, and is actually innovative and something better, then character could be white, could be black, he could be fucking purple for all I care, as long as the game is actually good. The portrayal of the character to me doesn't matter, but I can understand why people are upset and why they're calling it as woke, because this is very blatant what Ubisoft is doing here with Yakuza. But it shouldn't take you away from the fact that they're trying to charge people upwards of $130 just for the right to play the game. Just the right, not that once you pay $130 for this game, it's not yours to keep. You're not gonna pay $130 and be done with it, because the way Ubisoft's track record is it's really shitty. So because you could think of games like The Crew 2, that what happened with that whole ordeal. They literally took people's games and removed it out of their libraries, and then basically told all those players to fuck off, that they no longer deemed the game profitable, and so they just scrapped it, basically took the money and ran. And they've also been locking stuff behind paywalls, season passes, doing a whole bunch of shady ass practices. Ubisoft as a brand, from what it used to be to what it's become, it's really shady, and it's something that isn't worthy of your time to be spending that much money on. Not only to mention that, but it's just leaves a piss poor taste in your mouth to be thinking they expect you to pre-order this game 6 months in advance, having seen no gameplay, what the game is actually going to be like, how it's going to perform, if there's any redeeming qualities to it at all, other than it's set in Japan. Now, I'm all for the Japanese setting. Ghost of Tsushima was one of my favorite games of all time, essentially, and I really like the aesthetic that they're going for, but none of that matters if the game itself turns out to be shit. So, all in all, for right now, I would say that I would strongly advise anyone against pre-ordering this game. Once we get closer to the release date and, more stuff starts to surface out about how the game actually performs, maybe when some review copies start coming in and people actually start getting their hands on the game, I'd be very careful about who you get your sources from. Try to find somebody that's unbiased, that's gonna tell you to you straight up, because for them to be charging $130 when we haven't even seen a split second of gameplay, and expecting people to just hand over money like that, to me is pretty unacceptable. As consumers, your money should be trusted in the developers, that once you pay for the product, it's yours to keep. It's not just randomly gonna disappear one day like the Crew 2 did. and then it's gonna leave you feeling cheated and betrayed. So, on top of, you know, the whole thing happening with Yasuke, its betrayal of the game, you know, it's a really shitty situation all around that Ubisoft finds himself in, because, you know, a lot of people have been asking for an Assassin's Creed game set in Japan, but it feels like they just completely missed the mark on this one, and like just are so set on trying to appease the wrong demographic of people to meet share prices, and then trying to squeeze as much money as possible out of their player base before like they even have anything competent to show in terms of actual gameplay. So, you know, this is going to be kind of a short video just expressing my thoughts about it. You know, to anyone thinking about getting this game right now, I would strongly recommend against it. You know, save your money. Don't pre-order 6 months in advance. Be smart with your purchase. And, you know, let me know what you think. Do you think the Yasuke debate is a much bigger deal than what I think it is, or are you also thinking like me, you know, that the gameplay, what they're showing, that, you know, that needs to come first rather than what's happening with Yasuke? But other than that, you know, have a good day.